At Carrabba's Italian Grill, people always seem to be saying, wow! Especially now, because you can take home our delicious sauté-to-order spaghetti and homemade meatballs made with our family recipe absolutely free.
Homemade spaghetti and meatballs for free? Just wow!
Order one of your Carrabba's favorites, Chicken Brian, Chicken Marsala, Polo Rosa Maria, or our Chicken Trio, and take home made-from-scratch spaghetti and meatballs.
For tomorrow night's dinner, free? Wow!
Hurry into Carrabba's today and get free spaghetti and meatballs for tomorrow. Limited time only, now through May 6th. Carrabba's, Italian worth talking about.
Blog Talk Radio.
Caution, the tea is hot. Blow it off first, okay? Dish and tea with Big Meech.
Hello, hello, hello. It's another glorious day, my tea sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comfort together because it's time to dish the tea. And your dish the darlings. With Big Meech.
Can't wait. Time to dish tea with Big Meech. Time to dish tea with Big Meech. Time to dish tea with Big Meech. Time to dish tea with Big Meech.
Darling. And hello out there in Blog Talk Radio land and across the globe. For those of you who are in the sound of my voice, I love and appreciate you. Hello out there to Germany and Italy and the Caribbean islands. And to all of my fans out there, hello, babies. I'm over here in the tea room, Dummy Tree. Hey, baby, how are you? And Road to Stardom are over there dishing tea in the tea room, and it's open. So you guys who are listening by computer, you can go ahead on over there and chat with us in there as well. It's another glorious Wednesday, so you know what time it is, babies, honey. It is time to dish tea, and you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Me, Johnny. I'm sitting up here now. As you guys know, we're in the process of putting my play together in Detroit, Michigan for Detroit's Black Gay Pride. So this is a very, very special announcement because tomorrow, between 7 and 9 o'clock at Affirmations, right there in Ferndale at 9 Mile and Woodward, we are holding immediate auditions because we had some cast changes already. And we need you guys to come on out. We are specifically looking for African-American males, and we need African-American gender illusionists and or trans women. I have 2 roles that are in need of someone from that community. Either you're trans or you're just a performer with acting experience, okay? So that there's most important. For more information, please contact 248-688-5178. That's 248-688-5178 for more information on auditions for No Time for the Pain that's going on tomorrow between 7 and 9 p.m. We need you guys there so that we get this thing up and running because showtime is just over a month. We got about 5-6 weeks from now, and we are up and running. So I need you guys there, okay? For sponsorship information, if you want to get tickets and everything, tickets are on sale right now. Again, 248-688-5178 is that telephone number for more ticket information, sponsorship information, and all of that. Or go to the website at dishingtea.com for more information. That's dishingtea.com for all of your information needs, okay? Now, having said all that, I'm very excited. I'm moving through this, that, and the other, and I'm going to do something a little bit unorthodox today because I'm not sure what my time is with my guest today, and I want to make sure that we get him in here so that everything is on the up and up. Okay, so I'm going to go out of order just a little bit and rearrange all the things. So, having said all that, let me get right into this. My sponsors, I'll do y'all commercials and stuff on the back end of this. So, let me do this because today, I titled today's show, The Artist Formerly Known As, ... This is going to be an intimate discussion with Elder Edgar Gaines. Now, y'all may not know that name, okay? However, my guest today, in his former self, he revolutionized the image of black men in the adult gay film industry. And he had become the personification of the virile, dominant masculine specimen whose sexual prowess became a standard to which many held their sex partners to. He has over 100 films to his credit and has introduced the world to the concept of the BLATINO Sex Party craze. However, along his journey, he never turned his back on his spiritual convictions or his allegiance to what he deems to be his higher power. After retiring from the world of adult entertainment, then known as Bobby Blake, returned to his birth name and is now teaching and preaching the good news and has dedicated his ministry to being a beacon of light to those who have taken the same road to success and he has, and is looking for a better way of achieving a more fulfilling, spiritually enriched life. Today, we will be dishing tea with Elder Edgar Gaines, and he will dish on how he has managed to build his brand in the adult industry and how he has returned to his spiritual roots as a self-defined prodigal son. So, yeah, this is going to be a big old hot pot of tea. So I'm sure you have all of your crumpets together, darling. So without any further ado, let's get right into this with the one and only. This is the Elder Edgar Gaines. Hello there, my darling. How are you?
I'm great. And yourself?
I am all of the above and beyond. I'm getting a little bit apprehensive here because coming into this, it's going to be very difficult for me. No, it's not difficult. What it is, what I want to do is make sure that the best light possible comes out of this because, everyone who knows you knows your former self, but I don't want to necessarily harp on all of that because what has been recorded is recorded. You know what I mean? And so if they want to get really into that, all of that, they can go look at the movies and carry it on. But what I want to do is be able to have you tell your truth, outline what you put into your book, My Life in Porn, and then make sure that we roadmap this out to where we see the journey and not get fascinated with the sensationalism. Do you know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure that I bring you into a light that is just that. It's light. It is not so much as glorifying things. You know what I'm saying? So having said all that, why don't we get started here and tell everybody who Edgar Gaines is.
Well, Edgar Gaines is a down-to-earth brother, no different than the next brother. Seek to love and to be loved. Very compassionate brother, very understanding brother. I'm not a perfect being. I'm an imperfect being, striving to be more Christ-like. I'm not a judgmental individual. I wrote about my life in the book called My Life in Porn, the Bobby Blake story. And I put it in parallel of that of the prodigal son. And if you've ever read it before, it's very detailed. It talks about from the hour that I was born, how I went into the hospital and stayed over a year or so, had 2 blood transfusions, and the doctor told my mother that I would die and not live, but yet know he would live and not die. And then 56 years later, soon to be 57 years, in August, this big, beautiful, muscular black brother come forth and fascinate the world at one point. At one point during my career in the movie industry. But, that's my past. But I'm grateful to where I'm at today as well. But all of this has worked together for my good.
Okay. Let's start here Let's start here. I want to start to tear down some of the misconceptions about Edgar, about Bobby, and those two personas. What has been some of the most misconceptions about you as a person, about you as the film actor? What has been some of the misconceptions that you've had to continually break down and may still have to today?
Well, let me say this. Let me go back some because I try to be very open and live up to my truth. And I try to do that in the book. A lot of people have this certain definition of a porn actor and a porn star. And I'm not trying to be arrogant, but there's a difference between the two. Not everybody that has done porn is a porn star.
Right.
They're porn actors.
Right.
When you become a porn star, is that when you have reached a certain amount of finances when it comes to selling your movies, when you have reached a certain amount of power, that you can say what you want and what you don't want. And even today, I get paid for what I've done 18 years ago. I've been out that business over 18 years. I went into it, and I treated it as a business. And that's all it was. It was a business.
Okay.
I stayed into that business approximately 3.5 years. I did not go in there to stay in there for a lifetime. But I went in there, and I treated it as a business, and I had it set up where I could still receive something years later, even got a book deal out of that. And in the process of writing a second book.
Okay.
So it's all about understanding the difference between the two, first of all, because of what I've seen in today's society and what they call adult porn. Everybody want to call themselves porn stars, and they're paying these guys $150, $250. They're doing some of any and everything. They don't have anything to show for what they're doing. And they ask me a question about themselves. They want to get into the business. And I'm one, especially young brothers, I'm totally against that. And I talk about that in my book. And there are many reasons why I'm against that. Because, you see, a lot of people just see the glory. But if you read my book, I go in depth. There are a lot of racism in there. There are a lot of drugs.
Racism, the competition, the backstabbing. There's a whole lot of that in there. Yeah. But I was very fortunate to have a producer who taught me the ropes. And I listened, and I benefited out of that. And I stayed focused. I never did alcohol. I never did drugs. I never smoked. That didn't make me the perfect being. Right. My perception, my perspective, if I was going to do this, that I was going to make it productive for myself, not just for today, but for the long run. And a lot of people only live for today. And not only that, you have to be prepared mentally. Correct. If you're going to do something like that for the backlash. Because you're going to lose some friends, you're going to lose some associates, you're going to lose some family members, you're going to lose a whole lot. And you're going to be prejudged and judged. But I was very fortunate to have a loving, caring, sharing family who supported me, and friends and associates who supported me. Now, I don't try to justify anything. And if you notice that when I wrote the book, because I tried to look beyond myself and the way I think about different things and how I perceive the porn business. And so I try to look beyond self, because some people look at it as a degrading thing. And I look at it as a job. Let me go a little farther. Because at one point I was in a relationship. And someone said, well, what's the difference? What is it that you give your partner that you didn't give the person you did in the movie? Well, I made love to my partner. I was very compassionate to my partner. I made a house a home where we lived. On the other hand, I was not compassionate. I was not in love with that person. It was a job. I did the job, and I went home.
Sometimes the job only lasted for 30 minutes. I got paid good.
Right.
You know,
Let me go here.
That's the difference, you know. But I respect other people's belief. I respect their theory, their concept. And when someone says, I can't do that, I respect that. I can't understand that. I respect that. I respect that.
Let's go here because you're touching on something that has been, you know, a dynamic. Because see, and I'm just going to put this not just in the adult industry, just in the entertainment industry. Because as an entertainer myself, it's very difficult to find someone, you know, to partner with or whatever, because they don't understand the business. You know, they don't understand tours. They don't understand, okay, I have a rehearsal. They don't understand we got to go do this press junket. They don't understand this is a photo opportunity. They don't understand that, you know, if we're out of the restaurant and having dinner or whatever, fans are going to come up and ooh. They don't get that. It becomes too much. In the beginning, it's all cute, you know, but as you see, it's becoming a way of life. Folks can't get that. They don't understand that. You know. You know that's amazing what you just said, because in the beginning, I was flying all over the world, meeting football players and basketball players and celebrities of all walks of life, traveling all over the world, all over Europe. And people would come up to me for autographs, and I thought it was real cute, you know, pictures, and you know, it was real thrilling. But as time went on, it became tiredness, because what happened was that I began to lose my privacy, because in meeting someone, I wanted to go out and eat with and just enjoy that person. In the process, someone would come up, can I have a picture? Can I get an autograph? And it would happen all the time. And I remember being in D.C. that occurred, and I asked the friends, I said, I tell you what, can y'all take me somewhere where I can have a meal in peace? And so they took me to this church. I forgot the name of the restaurant, but they had great food at this church. And we were sitting there eating, and all of a sudden, this young man came up to me with a napkin, asking me to autograph and sign my name on the napkin. And I said to myself, when would this end? So that was played a part of me getting out of the business as well. It wasn't my desire to stay in the long term. But I began to miss my privacy. And then it also... interesting. And then it also began to define me in the wrong way. As well. Because Edgar was totally different than Bobby Blake. Yeah. Bobby Blake was an actor. It's just like Denzel Washington. When he go, he play different roles in movies. But, you know, after the movie shoot, you know, he's Denzel Washington. And so people couldn't understand that. And even today, you know, I'm sure.
I've had problems because in dating, because, you know, some people, you know, I've gotten older, and, you know, I'm not trying to out-talk you, and I apologize, but I meet brothers who cannot deal with the popularity, cannot get past my past.
Number two. Okay.
You know, they have their own insecurities, because people so often come up to me and sometimes make a little pass, even though I always make that person feel comfortable. Because if someone comes and speaks to me, I will always make certain that that individual speak to the person that I'm with.
Exactly. That's out of respect. And
that's out of respect. You know, but I realize, you know, I've been told, you know, by, you know, friends and, you know, my pastor and other ministers, and it's going to take someone special to be with you. And I understand that. You know, but that's my past. That's 18 and a half years ago. I have no desire to go back into the porn business. I wasn't forced out. I did it on a free will. So when people say, do you miss it? No, I don't miss it. But I had a covenant with God.
Okay.
And I act. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just acknowledging you. Go ahead. You said you got your covenant, so go ahead.
I had a covenant with God. And I said, God, if you open up this door, I would never go back to doing porn. And God did what I asked him to do. And I've been obedient to the covenant that I made with God.
Okay.
I have no desire, and I will never do porn. I've been offered so much money. And you have to understand, these guys work for some, I call them in-house companies. During those times, I worked for Catalina. I worked for Catalina, Falcon, All World, Surreal Pacific, Marina Pacific, those big major companies.
Bacchus and all that.
At one point, you know, there were some straight companies who were beginning to do gay porn and buy porn. And so I was the first one to do buy and gay porn up under their titles. And so there was a lot of money involved. So I can't connect with what they do today. And I always, you know, encourage young brothers, you know, don't take that route. Go to school, get your education. Because, you know, when I got out of the porn business, I went back to college. I got my degree, my bachelor's degree in criminal justice and my master's degree. And I'm working on a third degree, in the process of going back another master's degree in forensic psychology.
Oh, get it. Okay.
And so you're not talking to a dumb, ignorant, unintelligent brother. I can sit down and I can talk with you on any level you like to go. I've been director of security for colleges, investigator. I work for big major companies. And some people say, how can you do that because of your past? It goes back to the covenant that I had with God. That God, if you open the door, and God had done just that. God will give you favor among your enemies. And he'll, even when folks on that job know about your past and trying to hold you down because of your past, God will give you favor and he'll elevate you. I'm a living witness. Because the past don't define you. Let me, I'm about to go somewhere.
Well, see, here
and
we go.
I want you all to know that your past don't define you.
And
but you can learn from your past and take that and move forward. We're all imperfect beings. So don't let nobody try to judge you and put you down because of something you did in your past.
Right. But see, it took all of that to make you the person that you are today. See, that there became the model and the roadmap to who you are today. You know, and I tell this to folks all the time. We've just lost Maya Angelou, and you know, she tells in her story that she was a prostitute at one point. You know, because she had to take care of her baby, and everyone sees the work and the life that Maya Angelou had led, and I consider her to be amongst the greats and one of the angels that were walking, like Malcolm and Martin and Gandhi and all those kids, honey. You know, she was one of those children because she has impacted the world with the work that she was sent here to do. And even in her past, you know, as she said, when you know better, you do better, you know. And so there comes a time where we graduate from one part of the journey and move into the next part because this was the steps that we take. And along that journey, if you hold any kind of regret, any kind of resentment towards it, then you're not going to be authentic because if you hold yourself to a level of shame, then you're going to wear that shame for folks to criticize and to ridicule. And there's nothing about, you know, there should never be anything about you that you end up ridiculing. It should all become a learning process and part of what defines you. You know, the part I think what people have not mastered is how to make peace with it because of societal judgments and carrying on. We live in a society that is very harsh, very cruel, and want to point fingers all the time. And yet everyone, you know, they always say there's skeletons in the closet, but I really believe it's more than skeletons. I mean, everybody has funeral homes and cemeteries and things of stuff that they've laid to rest. I won't call it dead. They just laid it to rest because it's either no longer needed or it fell off because it's not a part of who you are anymore, or you've outgrown it. Simply, you just matured and outgrown it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me say this to you. You know, when I wrote my book, I got so many letters and emails where it has saved so many people's lives. So many who were going to church and being told that they were hell-bound because of who they were. Because I addressed the religious part and the spirituality part of my life, and there's a difference between the two. Organized religion and spirituality. Exactly. And I always encourage people the importance of having a personal relationship with God. It's okay to be a part of the Methodist, the Pentecostal, AME, the CME, the Baptist, the Missionary Baptist. That's the organized part. But the most important part is having a personal relationship with God, believing in your heart and confessing with your mouth. That's important, a personal relationship with God. David had a personal relationship with God. In the book of Psalms, David used personal words. He said, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down beside the still water. He restores my soul. You have to have a personal relationship with God. And when you have a personal relationship with God, you don't allow other folks to come between you and God. You see, that's what's wrong with a lot of us. Even in our relationship with each other. You're in a relationship with this other person, but somewhere during the course of that relationship, you have allowed somebody else to come in with a bunch of mess, with a bunch of gossip, and begin to mess up the relationship. And when you have a personal relationship with God, you can't allow other folks to come in with their personal concept, theory, philosophy of God's love. God so loved the world that he gave it only begotten Son, that whosoever is you and I. I don't allow anybody to come in and say, you're going to hell because of this, and you're going to hell because of that. I didn't read anywhere in the Bible where anybody was hired to be the judge. So I encourage everybody to have a personal relationship with God.
And there you have it.
Oh, I have that.
And there you have it.
I have that personal relationship with God.
Okay, you know, let's go here.
Something. I've always had a personal relationship with God. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect. The prodigal son had a personal relationship with God. And hear me now, because I want you to have some understanding. And those who are listening, because you have a personal relationship with God, because you're a Christian, because you have confessed, does not mean that you will not make mistakes, does not mean that you will not come up short, but because the word of God is in you. When the prodigal son went out in the far country, and did all he did because the word of God was in him. There was a great conviction, and it brought him back to himself, his senses.
Okay.
And so once that you're saved, mean that you're not going to make a mistake or you're not going to do anything wrong. That's a false theory. I don't want anybody to think that.
Okay, now let
every
me
morning
let
and
me
every
ask
day
this
I
for
ask the
clarity.
Lord to have mercy upon me.
I'm going to ask this question for clarity now, because just how you said that, I want folks to hear you clearly, because your choice to go into the industry, when you look back on it, you're not calling that a mistake, are you, or something wrong? It was just a choice and it was a career path at that time. Or are you looking back on it as the prodigal son, saying that that was a mistake and now I'm back in my right mind? How are you defining that?
Let me say this, that if I had it to do it all over again, I would not do that.
Okay.
If I know what I know, if I know what I know today,
knew then what you know now.
If I knew that back then, I would not have done it.
Okay.
Let me say that.
Okay.
Because in as much joy, excitement, a worldly joy, a worldly excitement it also brought about some displeasure. Brought some privacy. It began to define me all in the wrong way. And what means more to me is for one to really know the real person.
Okay, now here, let me go here, because, see, this has been a burning question that I had, because you and I had met face-to-face when you guys had came to Detroit. And you had mentioned this in the book that you guys came down there, and at the time that you came into Detroit, it was a whole big thing with Tiger Tyson and Cruise Entertainment and all that were there, and you guys were all there at the same time and blah, blah, blah. Here is the thing. As I said in my intro about you, the persona of Bobby Blake has revolutionized what black gay men are supposed to be, particularly in sexual presence and power and this, that, and the other. You have taken that, and now, based on what your work has outlined, you have become a figure, a definition of what it is. You have become the fantasy. You have become, or the image of Bobby Blake has become what a lot of folks are looking for. The racist white guy who's looking for the big black buck. The 65 black boy, honey, who's sitting up there saying, I need a man, and they look to you. You have become that definition. So now, having left that behind, what is the most difficult in trying to merge or either separate Bobby from Edgar, or has Bobby and Edgar merged and folks don't know the difference between the two?
There has always been a great difference between Bobby Gaines. Let me see if I can break it down to you. When I was out in the porn world, even traveling, going to different pride events, Bobby Blake was hired to show up. Not Edgar Gaines.
Exactly. Right.
So Bobby Blake showed up. But when it was over, Edgar Gaines went home.
Okay.
So there's always been a great difference. Let me share something with you. Let me share. Let me do this again. Let me share something with you. I remember when I first got started in the porn business, and I was in Washington, D.C., and I never will forget this. And this is what somewhat revolutionized Bobby Blake. I was walking behind some female impersonators.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard them in the conversation saying, I bet you they wouldn't do this on film. I bet you they won't do that on film. And I said, wow.
Right.
You can learn from anybody, I'm telling you now. And I took what they said and they felt that would never happen on film.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it on film. And I began to blow up.
Interesting.
You have to do the least.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody that, you know, I saw other, you know, people beside me, they would do the same thing. You know, it's not about the size of your, you know, your penis, and it's not about the size. You know, there was a lot of 10, 12, 13, 8. It wasn't about the size. It was about the aggressiveness.
Right.
It was about the empowerment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And making those under you submissive.
Mm-hmm.
It was about that.
Interesting. And so now, since that was a business, who is Edgar Gaines in your personal life now? Because I'm sure in dating that's become difficult for you. You know, I'm sure everybody's expecting Bobby to show up somewhere. You know, and you know, in wanting to date and wanting to sit down there and be like, okay, no, you know, this, that, and the other. How have you managed to align yourself with that in this particular day and age? Because as you just said before, I know everybody still want Bobby, and they don't know Edgar.
Well, let me say this. Like I said, that's been 18 and a half years ago, and I have been somewhat naive because I felt like 3 years that the name Bobby Blake will evaporate.
Mm-hmm.
But what has happened is that the internet is very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Even the young ones now come up and say, oh, you're Bobby Blake.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have been able to do is somewhat take the conversation and reverse it.
Mm-hmm.
And have a very good down-to-earth dialogue with them. And let them know that that's my past. And allow them to ask questions and be open and be upfront.
Mm-hmm.
And share my life story with them.
Okay.
Living up to my truth.
Right.
And so,
okay.
Even today, even in my ministry, my past has somewhat. Let me try and be cautious in how I word this. My past has somewhat helped me in a sense, and let me share this with you. Thousands and thousands, and I could say millions of people around the world have watched Bobby Blake and continue to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And so as they watch, they begin to see this transitioning.
Mm-hmm.
And so many have reached out and said, you know, I've seen what God has done in your life, how he has turned your life around.
Mm-hmm.
You have inspired me to do better, to make it right. So God will get the glory one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let's go here because along this particular journey, you have not met this without any form of controversy because as you retired and began to go into your ministry full time, like I said back in Detroit, at the time that we met face-to-face, I don't even know if you remember this, because I came up to you. We were at the Gold Coast, because you and Flex and somebody else came over there. And April Summers, the Patti LaBelle impersonator, was hosting the show. And I had just read something, and you had done an interview, I think, in Black Interest, and you were saying that you were a minister at that point. And I said, what? And I came over to you, and I said, oh, my God, I would love to sit down and talk with you because that's fascinating to me. Now, I'm not a traditional Christian anymore. I've left organized religion alone. My faith in what I believe in it holds true and holds tight. But I'm more of a progressive person. I'm more of a aggressive believer. I don't even like to use the word Christian much anymore because it has negative connotations. But it fascinated me. And along your particular journey, you know, you have met controversy because even though I know in the book you identify yourself as bi-attractional, however, in our culture, LGBT culture, you've had some stances on gay marriage, and I was going to play this particular clip, but it's not lining up for me like I needed to. A few years ago here in Atlanta, they were asking you about what you would tell your 15-year-old or whatever if you were to sit down and to mention them, and a lot of folks kind of met you with a little opposition on your stance on the whole idea of the masculine gaze and how the girls twisting and twirling at Lennox Mall.
Let me address this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let me first of all address the marriage issue. My opposition to marriage was a political thing.
Oh.
It was a political thing.
Okay.
Problem with our white gay counterparts back during that time.
Okay.
And I think I talked about it in the book. I'm sure I did. Blacks will go to their club. And they will be asked to show 2 or 3 IDs with
pieces of IDs. Yes, they would. Shit. Okay. Come on.
They would be. I want you to follow this. They will be rejected.
Yeah.
There was a situation that occurred in San Francisco where blacks were not allowed in this white gay club, and the former mayor had to come in and bring both parties together to resolve the issue.
Mm-hmm.
And things like this was going all over the United States. And our white gay counterparts, they wanted society to embrace this gay marriage. They wanted the freedom, and I respect that part.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they didn't want to be talked down upon but they wanted me to embrace their campaign for gay marriage.
Right.
And I could not do that because the problem I had was this. How can you ask me to embrace paying for gay marriage for equality when you reject my people from coming into your clubs?
Come on now.
So it was more of a political statement at that time.
Mm-hmm.
See, you have to understand, I look beyond self. My people empowered me at that time. They supported me at that time. And let me go even deeper. There were other African Americans who came into the porn business.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of them even told me, you know what? I'm just going to wipe you off the map. And so they got with Chi Chi LaRue and some of the other white major producers. And they turned their back on the African-American community.
Wow. See, here we go. Come on.
And so, you know what? I knew what the downfall would be, that they will eventually be in drugs and end up dead.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened. And when they were used up, they were just thrown to the side. All during my career, even when producers did not have the money I asked for, there were a lot of times I went.
Right.
Because I wanted to reach out and say, thank you for supporting me. You empowered me to say, no, I don't want that person in a scene with me. You empowered me to make major decisions. I even shut down some movie scenes.
Oh,
and
wow.
made producers write checks. I became a very powerful figure in the adult industry. A lot of the white producers did not like me. I was not in the business to be liked or loved. But again, keep in mind, it was all a business for me.
Right.
I remember, and let me share something with you. I remember during my first movie, and after that movie, we were going to the bank in Hollywood. And Jean Lamar and Paul Handsome and a couple other porn stars. And I said stars because those guys were stars.
Right, because they were. Yeah, they were. Right.
And so
those were
they were in front of me.
That was living. Mm-hmm.
They were in front of me. And a couple of them, I noticed their checks. I'm like, wow. And I'm looking at mine, and I'm getting almost $4,000 or $5,000 more than what they're getting. And so I'm like, I didn't say anything at that time. I had a meeting with them. And I informed them you're more than what you're being paid.
Right.
You get me? So it wasn't about, I could have very well kept my mouth shut because they were taking care of me. But it wasn't about me. It was about us. You get me?
I got you.
So I've never really been the selfish person in the business.
Mm-hmm.
So the marriage thing was more a political thing.
Got
it wasn't so much
about
you. It's not so much about Bobby Blake, but it was about my people. When you learn to respect my people, them feel welcome, then you can get my endorsement, but not until then.
Dig it.
That's what that's about.
How did we miss all of that? Because all the sound bites and everything, have been just that about, where he don't agree with gay marriage and how he gonna sit up there and do that. He been in porn. He did this. How he not gonna, I wonder how we all miss that. I'm gonna put myself in that because when I first heard it, I was like, and I have been a stickler for that. I was like, no, I need to get him one-on-one because I need to hear this. Because there's a piece, I've always said there's a piece to this that is missing to me because it's not that black and white. So hearing this piece of it, this is what's connecting all of the dots for me because I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. All right. Now, let's go here because the other side of that is, again, like I said in my intro, Bobby Blake has always been the personification of masculinity. It has always been, the black bald head, big bug, nice body, six-pack, muscle-bound, in shape kind of guy. And you have gotten opposition on that. I know somebody who will love you, honey. Walter Hampton, honey, would sit there and just love you because, he's one who, okay, you must know. Okay. He, is another one who, his personal take on those who are not in shape, this, that, and the other, has gotten him a lot of flack, for me particularly. So I know you've met a lot of opposition with that as well. So what is that? The girls, the kick and twirl girls, and those who are wearing, all of our femme girls of the culture.
Let me say something. Something because just like I was misunderstood in the gay marriage thing. I can't recall what I specifically stated during that time in Atlanta. But you also have to understand the era in which I came up in. I had somewhat of an effect on my philosophy at that time.
Okay.
This was the era in which I came up in. About 90, I would say 90% of the men were very masculine and lift weights and, they were aggressive. So that's the era in which I came up in. But as time has advanced, I've come to understand that not everybody is going to be muscular built, bald-headed dog, but that does not mean that they're not good looking.
Right.
That does not mean that they're not important to society. They're much important to society as the next brother is.
Mm-hmm.
I have grown to love and support people for whom they are and where they are.
Okay.
And I have some of the very good, I guess if you want to classify them as some, feminine, female impersonators, however you want to define them, very good close friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I love them. And I hug them and I kiss them and I can go out in public with them and support them. It's, I love everybody. Who am I to be judgmental and to look down upon someone when I once was in porn?
Mm-hmm.
And someone could take that and look down upon me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have no right to judge. Could I date a feminine person? Could I date a female impersonator? Because I've learned how to connect from the heart.
Oh, did that.
And not from the outer appearance.
Okay.
Because at one point in my life, just like most of us, we connect with our eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Our eyes have gotten us in a world of trouble. Because I've dated and I've been in a relationship with some fine brothers. But baby, you talk about the Chucky doll.
Okay.
So that outer appearance can fool you.
Completely.
Cause you big and muscular don't mean you don't have any feminine ways. All of us have some type of feminine ways.
Right.
And every now and then it shows.
Mm-hmm.
So, I embrace people and love people for who they are and where they are.
Okay.
And if my statement back then offended someone, I sincerely and I deeply apologize.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cute. Okay. Now, let's go here because I would be remiss if I don't go here, and I'm going to let you take it wherever you want to take it, okay? Mm-hmm. And that is your relationship with Flex. Now, Flex was a guest on the show, and, it's in the archives for those of you who missed that. I can post that later. But I asked him about all of that, and he was very kind, and he was very gracious. I know that in the book you've outlined considerably, the relationship and carrying on. But my question to you is, what do you think you've learned from that? Because I know you said in the book that of all of the relationships, I think that was probably the one that you had most of a personal and a more serious crisis with when it started to dissolve. You know
something. I as time is going on, and even today, sometimes I look back and I analyze some things that occurred in their relationship, and I have to say he was at a place that I was not.
Okay.
And I've learned that some things you don't compromise in.
Oh, dig that. Okay. Okay.
And when you compromise, you only have self to blame.
How about that? I said, how about that?
Yeah.
I like that. That's a wait a minute.
Some areas you compromise in, and some you just don't.
Okay.
And so when you do, and the end result become painful, you only have self to blame.
Okay. And that's good, bad, or indifferent. And I like that because some things you just can't compromise on.
Some things you just can't compromise on.
Some things you just can't compromise on. And when you do, you only have self to blame.
And a lot of people are in relationships today, and they're miserable because they hear other people say, oh, you have to stay in there, you got to make it work, don't give up, don't throw in the towel. But what the other person don't understand is that what's going on is that you're compromising in an area in which you shouldn't be compromising in, and you're not going to be happy, and you're not going to be comfortable until you deal with reality and come face to face with the fact that I can't compromise in this area, and this person is not for me, and I'm not for this person. It does not mean they're not a good person, but it just means that this person is not for me.
It's just not for me.
Until you come to grip with that, you're going to remain miserable and unhappy. You're going to go out there cheating. You're going to live a very deceitful, lying, backstabbing life, and you're going to be hurting other people because you're hurt. You just got married, but you out there cheating. Why? You're in a relationship, but you out there cheating. Why? You should have stayed single. What is it about this person, this relationship, that you're not getting what you need? And I tell people all the time, let me back back. I need to go back a little bit too. I remember before I did porn, I was a dancer, and I learned something from this. I remember living in Houston, Texas, at Club Uptown, Downtown, and I was dancing, and I met this couple that came up to me, and they introduced themselves. You know, I was doing porn. I take that back. I was doing porn during that time as well, and dancing. And they came up to me, and they said, well, I enjoy your work. I said, I appreciate that. So the next week, one of the partners came, and he was by himself. He said, you know, I want you to just wear me out. I said, why me? I've seen your work. I said, why don't you let your partner do it? He don't understand. He just likes to be compassionate and make love to me. I said, have you talked to him about it? No. I said, why not? I don't feel comfortable. I said, okay. About 2 weeks later, his partner came to me and said the same thing. That taught me something. It's important for you to open up your mouth and say what you want and want what you say. They would have just communicated with each other. And you got to make folks feel comfortable in communicating with you in a relationship. Because if you say to me, baby, I want you to come to me and talk to me about any and everything. And let me just use this as an example. Don't nobody go and run with this, so I'm just using it as an example. Because this happened a whole lot. And if I come to you and say, you know what, I saw this brother, and I think I would like to do a threesome. And you just go to cussing me out. Just cussing me out, just loud cussing me out. I'm going to, withdraw. Versus you saying to me, conversating on a level of understanding, expressing your desire not to do so. You have to be, be cautious in your communication. Because a lot of times we just blast folks and we make them feel uncomfortable. I'm not saying you have to agree, because I don't agree. But it is how you press yourself and not agree. Communication is a key part in relationship.
Exactly. And let's go here, because one of the key elements of the book is about how, though a lot of folks, you didn't necessarily have your college education at the time, but you were always about business. You were always into, what folks, once you read the book, honey, yes, he was into fast food restaurant management and carrying on. He was a butcher and cut the meat and carrying on, and all of those kinds of things. When you went into the business, and went into that with a business mind, understanding contracts, understanding not to sign this. No, this doesn't need to be. I didn't want to sign this because I didn't want to be held down as an exclusive, in an exclusive rights thing. And this is my first film, which is, I don't want to be tied down to you. And then opening up yourself to where you became a beacon or a mouthpiece for others who were just in it because it was a way out. Folks who just want that quick money or something right now. They were on hard times, and so they entered this because they saw this as a means to get over today. And you were like, no, sweetie, we need to look at this as, long term. If you're going to do it, then get something out of it. What are you pulling from that now? As you said, that was 18 years ago. You've left that. What lessons have you learned from that you carry with you now into ministry, into everything that you are educating folks with today?
Well, what I've learned from that, and whatever you do, stay focused and give it your best. Even, when we get ready to throw our birthday parties and our events, we take weeks and weeks planning these events. We want to make sure everything is done right. We want it on a grand style.
Right.
But when it comes to doing something in God's house or doing something for the Lord, we like to just throw things up, do it any kind of way.
Okay.
In the name of the church,
Don't you stop me with that one. Oh, don't you hit me with that one.
Things the right way. Making sure that whatever it is, that it will have a great positive impact on the community. If it's feeding the hungry and clothing the homeless and housing the homeless and or whatever it is, going out into the community, doing outreach work, having an impact beyond the four walls of the church, going out in the community. And that's what I love about my church. I love about my pastor. He preaches and he teaches love. And we go outside, we go in the community. There's not a such thing as a ghetto. There's not a such thing as a community that we are forbidden to go into. We go everywhere.
Okay.
We go where the least is expected to go. Because we go in the name of love. So I have brought that concept with me, that theory, even today. And even when by young men and even young women, because I did some bi movies. I always sit them down and try my best to encourage them to take a different route. I had a brother that I forgot I had spoke to him some years ago, and he hit me up on Facebook, and he asked me to give him a call. And he said, "You're not going to remember me, but I'll try to make you remember me. We met in South Florida when you were living here, and you tried to talk me not into going into porn, and I did it anyway. And everything you told me, I experienced it, and I regret it. Because, see, let me share something with you. I also was not dumb. My eyes was not blind that I could not see. My ears was not deaf that I could not hear while I was in the business. And I want you to see this picture and those that are listening to me. I was not the only porn star or porn actor during that time. Am I correct?
Correct. Okay, right.
But I was the only one that was on a certain financial level, the only one that was empowered, the only one that picture and name was on billboard that traveled all over the world. Now, out of hundreds and thousands of other black men, that's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say strange, but I have my own reason behind it. But let me hear you.
And I tell them this. Why would you think? See, that's the reason they really didn't know what was going on behind the scene. Why would you think that you're going to come in and be the next Bobby Blake? And I've been retired for 18 and a half years, and still there have not been anyone to come forth and establish themselves on the level that I did. The system is set up to prevent you from reaching a certain level. And then the industry is not like it was.
Correct.
You know, you got these folks. I don't know I don't know what you call them. You know, home producers. They done picked up a camera and went down to the bus stop and done picked up somebody who was in need of and paid them $50 and, you know.
Right.
But back in those days, we had to take tests as well, HIV tests.
Right.
See, time has changed. Time has changed.
Right.
And let me say this. As I look back, and during the process, I was also educated as well. Before laughing and before judging an individual based on what they have done, sometimes it's good to sit down and conversate with that person and find out why. Because there were some folks who didn't have a place to live, didn't have food.
Exactly.
There were some who were trying to pay their way through college. I know some of them who have PhDs today.
Right. Yeah, there's a cat out of Atlanta.
They took that as a means of business and finances to better themselves.
Right.
I'm going to tell you something that was so amazing to me. I remember filming a movie, and this blew my mind. I think this is one of the most powerful things that I ever encountered. The man's wife was there watching me do her husband. And after the shoot, I'm like, how can she sit up there and watch that? Only to come and find out she only married him so she can come to the United States.
Oh, wow.
You know, people do things for different reasons.
Right. Very, and see, that was my point earlier, as far as, folks who have come into it, as a last resort. I'm into this because, like you said, I don't have a place to stay. I done got, I'm down and out, don't have no money, this, that, and the other. I had a high school friend who went into it because he just wanted the thrill of it. He did he said he did 5 shoots. But I said, how you only do 5 movies and I own 6 of them? He says, well, we did a shoot and whatever the footage is or whatever, once they get you, then they sit there and loop it and do whatever they're going to do with it. I said, well, honey, okay. But he saw it as a thrill and something he always wanted to do. He did it, now he has it, and blah, blah, blah. I know there's one particular cat, honey, who did his own, and right when he graduated, honey, he shut everything down. He did everything, online and, created his own work and carried on. He didn't include any faces in his work, but, he sold his own stuff. And as soon as he graduated school, honey, he shut everything down. And when I peeped the stunt, I said, "Oh, you get in for that." Okay.
But I want this. But I don't mean any harm. I want this for the record.
Mm-hmm.
And this is for the record.
For the record.
You don't have to do that. You don't have to do porn.
Exactly. Right.
You don't have to work as a prostitute. You don't have to do that to get to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason I said if I had to do it all over again, I'll take a different route. That's one reason as well. You don't have to do that.
Well, you know what? I think that's probably, being a spiritual person, I think that's why this was your route. So that you being the one who's come through it, can be the advocate, especially with someone of your prowess. You could be the advocate to say, okay, been there, done that, let me educate you. And these are all of your options because this is not something that, especially when you listen to folks, if you sit down and listen to people, sometimes you can hear the falter in their voice, the shakiness. A lot of times they're just doing it because they think it's fast, it's quick, it's this, it's that. And they look at it as a way out, and they have not really looked into what this is. As you said, I went into this as a business. Looking into this, this was how to maximize this. And then I had to become a brand. Bobby Blake is a brand. And so now understanding what that means. I know you outlined some things in the book that you were trying to teach other people. Okay, if you're trying to get folks to buy the movie, you can't be showing up here, there, and this, and the other, giving away the product, because then they're not going to buy the movie. Okay.
I talked about that, and we're going back and forth. I did talk about that. It was one thing about me. You have to keep a business mind at all times. If I wanted you to buy a calendar, buy a movie, why would I go down there at the Hardwood Beach and walk around there naked? And you can see me free.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. See, you have to think outside of the box.
Mm-hmm.
So I always kept, when I was in the business, I kept that business mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, I know we're going back and forth, but it's very important to me to put it out there. That is not something that you have to do. You don't have to do porn to be successful in life. I encourage you to go to school, to get your education. And college is not for everybody, but you can go to a trade school, and you can learn something. You can create your own business. In spite of what others may say, you can rise above the words of others. And you become the most successful being that society has ever seen.
True that. Now, you know what? Taking that message, and let me go here. I'm going to play devil's advocate for just half a second. Now, those would be cute little words for somebody whose head can hear that message. Those who can hear that. But for those who have become down and out, those who have a broken spirit, those who have, they're looking for love in all the wrong places because they've been ostracized and dehumanized and carrying on. And they may not hear that. They may see this as, like we're looking at reality TV. I can blow up. I'm going to blow up. I'm going to turn it up. I can do this. I can turn it up. And especially now that we're living in a culture where defining, back when I'm 44, and I know you got me about a couple of years, but we're from that same generation era where the term freak outsider, there was something strange about you. Now, if you are not a freak or don't have your freak card and can't swing from the chandeliers while doing 20 children at the same time and still standing on one foot and jumping around, if you don't have that kind of status, in this over-sexualized culture that we live in, then something is wrong. And some folks are approaching this in that regard. We got X2, we got Pornhub, we got all these different social media sites that are directly geared to, the amateur sex videos and things. How do you reach out to those?
I understand where you're going, but let me say this. Now I understand where you're going. It is very important that you know your worth.
Okay, there we go. Come on.
People are going to use you like a dish rag. And I've seen brothers that call themselves so fine, gorgeous, knockouts. And I've watched them. And over a period of time, I've seen them begin to just diminish all of their physical beauty and all of that. Even their finances. Because finances don't define who you are.
Correct.
Because there have been some folks who were billionaires and made some bad investments, and now they're on food stamps.
Hello.
So don't get so caught up in the finances or the big houses. See, a lot of us, we get caught up in that. But you don't know how what price they paid to have that.
Right.
You just looking at the house. You think they got a whole lot of money. They got a whole lot of bills. And folks run around here driving Mercedes but living in apartments. Ain't even got a garage to put that Mercedes in. It does not make sense to me, but everything ain't got to make sense to me. And what common sense may be to me may not be to you. That don't mean I'm right and you wrong. That's just my theory and my philosophy. And then also keep in mind what I said. Going into a business that I went into, also understand that you have to be prepared for some rejections in the present and in the future. Because, and I want you to hear me, it wasn't always a sunny day. Because there were some times, even after the porn business, there were some folks that wanted to dig up my past and use that against me or remind me of my past. And it wasn't until I got to the point, just like Hillary Clinton said the other day in the interview, she's beyond what people think about her hair, her dressing. That's unimportant. You got to get to the point when those things become not the major important factors of your life, and move beyond that and focus on what's going to get you to the next level. But see, it's fun. I'm meeting people. I'm thrilled. People coming up to me. That may be what's going on now. But baby, in the long run, because I'm 56 now and be 57 in August. But in the long run, things begin to fade away. You ain't as muscular and built and fine like you used to be. So you better have something to hold on to.
Right.
Substance. And that's the reason I say you got to educate yourself. Folks can come and put you out and evict you out of your home or apartment if you don't pay the bill. But the one thing they can't take from you, evict from your mind, that's knowledge.
Right.
And when you got knowledge,
break that down even further, because see, when we say communication is the key, education is the way to go, that has become blanket statements. Break that down the way you know it. When we say educate yourself, talk to the people. You need to what?
Let me say something. Let me say this. To God be the glory. When I mean educate yourself, I mean, for some, go to school. For some, go to a trade school. It's something that you can do, that you're good at, and become the master of it. That even though you may have a past, that you are so good that they would desire to hire you. That you're so knowledgeable, criminal field or the medical field, of HVAC or whatever it is, that you have so much knowledge, and that when you speak about it, you speak with power and authority that is so convincing that you even walk in it, that they have to hire you. And I'm going to be real with you. Whenever I went on an interview, I went knowing that I was going to get that job, and I got it.
Okay.
Because I equipped myself with the knowledge and understanding that was needed. And I spoke with authority. And what I mean by speaking with authority, knowing that you know, and speaking that you know.
Exactly, and being unwavering in it because you know it. It's not like you're talking out the side of your neck. Okay, that's what it is. Knowing that you know, and you can stand on it, and because the truth don't need a qualifier, honey. Truth speaks for itself.
I'm sorry. Say that again now.
I said, knowing that you know, and you can stand on it because truth doesn't need a qualifier.
For some reason, I can barely hear you now.
Okay. I was saying truth speaks for itself. It doesn't have a qualifier. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, Lord.
No?
You there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I would say truth speaks for itself. It doesn't need a qualifier. And so when you're standing in what you know, and in your authority, and in standing and speaking with authority, honey, it speaks for itself. You're not sitting up there wavering or guessing at it, You know
what's so amazing? I see the expression of people when they hear me in the church. They be like, wow. As if they thought I was uneducated, unintelligent, ignorant, no knowledge of the Bible. And I just smile. But when I know that I know, I speak with power and authority. I remember before moving to Atlanta, I came up and I spoke on a funeral. And after the funeral, I got phone calls from Houston, Miami, Memphis, and they told me that, I got a phone call, and they said you just shut the church down. Say, after you got through speaking, they could have just ended. And I was kind of like, okay. But on the other hand, I'm saying, what did you expect? Me to get up there and be ignorant or something? There's some good and some bad in it. You get me?
Exactly. Well, all right. But I again, that goes back to that persona of them not knowing Edgar and was only expecting Bobby because of what Bobby's persona is or was or that character. So here comes the $25,000 question for all the cash and prizes. What is it that Edgar is doing now? And what propels you to go forward now outside of the church and your ministry in the church? What is it that fulfills you? What sustains you? What is it that has you, being the productive citizen who has retired from that past life? What is your current life?
Well, I just started a nonprofit organization. Ministry, rather, No Greater Love Outreach Ministry, which we will be going out into the neighborhood, feeding those that need to be fed, providing clothing, also providing tools of education, because a lot of people, if they are given the opportunities, they will embrace the opportunity. And so some have not been given an opportunity. The only thing that they've heard down through the years is that you'll never be anybody. You can't do this and you can't do that. But my desire, my goal is that in spite of you having 5 children, you can rise above and be the most successful doctor, or be the most successful teacher, because it was through that experience that you learned something.
Right.
It was through me going through porn that I learned a lot of things. And so I've opened up and share them with the community at large, and be open and honest about my life, and hoping that it will help somebody. And so many of us who are up in age, if we would stop trying to sleep with these young kids and try to be mentors and encourage them to go to school, get a trade, be the best that they could be productive in society. If we would stop trying to sleep with them, we become gay fathers and gay mothers, and we're sleeping with these kids. That's not what it's about. It's about encouraging them to be productive, and not only encouraging them, but also providing the necessary tools to get them from point A to point B, from point B to point T. And even during the process of moving from one point to another point, if they fall, to be there to lift them up and encourage them to keep going on. Because you're going to have some good days and bad days, but it's all about getting up and moving forward. So that's what I'm doing today. Very active in my church. I love my church. I love my pastor. I love my first gentleman. Tabernacle Baptist Church here in Atlanta, Georgia. I invite you all to come out and hear this great man of God who preaches love and acceptance. I love my pastor. I love my church. So life has been good.
Okay.
Life has been good. I must say this. I do work. I'm just very cautious and careful in saying where I work, because
no, that's fine.
I'm not out of the stalking arena. I get stalked.
Okay, right.
I've had a point one time when I had someone who I thought they were playing grab me from behind and put a knife at my back and said, if I can't have you, nobody will. And
Oh, my.
You know, some people had to grab them off of me. So, you know, I'm still very cautious and careful.
Wow. See, that's a whole other element of this that I have not even considered. And that is, you know, dealing with all of that because Bobby Blake, the character, has such has become such a phenomenon. You know, how is it that you deal with all of that, the stalkers and carrying on, those who seem to go overboard because they have romanticized and fantasized, you know, that dominance, that arrogance and carrying on of Bobby to where you can't breathe edgewise. How did you deal with all that?
You know, I'm just very prayerful, and I'm very cautious. I try not to allow that to affect my everyday activities. I go about my life doing things I desire to do, enjoying life. I try to stay focused, you know. But at the same time, you know, I'm mindful you have some people who don't understand the difference between Bobby Blake and Edgar Gaines, and Bobby Blake was nothing but an actor. So, you know, unfortunately, that's something that I have to deal with.
Even in your personal life now, because, you know, we were talking before, and, you know, and just like you were saying, listen to the folks who say, okay, I bet he won't do this on film and won't do that on film, and this, that, and the other. And, you know, there has been rumors and carried on, and, you know, those who have been with you personally who trying to dish tea or whatever or dig up dirt that would say, okay, you know, all he does on film, honey, you can't do that with him in his personal life because he don't do this, he don't do that. You know, you can't talk to him the way he talk on film, baby, because he ain't having all. You know, I've heard a gamut of things out into the public, into the public sector. So what is it that you learned, or what has porn done for you that you either pull from or taken away from when you're dealing romantically, privately, intimately, you know, with that special someone?
Well, let me, you know, if you recall, I've always said that with my partners, I've always been compassionate.
Right.
I don't go in there just beating and banging and slapping and pushing and calling them out of their names. No, I don't do that. I was paid to do all of that on film. You know.
Right.
I'm very compassionate, brother. Down to earth, loving, caring, brother. I try to put my partners before me. I'm a very giving person. You know, for years, you know, when I was in the business, I would always do a big birthday bash, 3-day event. People come in from all over the world. And so when me and Flex got together, I did the same thing, you know, for him. And each year I would give him a carrot for his birthday. So I love doing things for my partner, and that's who I am.
Okay.
That's who I am.
All right. So
but what you know, I hope I answered that question correctly.
Yeah, you did. See, one of the things, I can get gutter, and I can get very, very gutter, and because you have not, I'm being real cute. So, I'm letting you navigate it because everybody know I got a potty mouth for the world, honey. And see, we could have got real gutter, but I'm not going to take it to that particular level this time. Okay, but you have, because
what is it that
everything
you were going to say?
Huh?
What is it that you were going to say?
Oh, no, that's off camera, honey. I'll call you later for that. Because, see, right now, we're going to keep everything cute.
I kind of got a clue. So what is it you were going to say?
Well, okay.
Let me say this to you. One thing that I've learned in business, that you cannot pay attention to what people say.
Oh, trust. Okay, right.
You cannot dot every I and cross every T, especially when you get to the status of celebrity. Folks don't say all kind of things. That they done this to you, they did that to you. People are going to say that they're your cousin, they're the nephew. I mean, I've had all kind of things said. It used to bother me, but I'm like Hillary Clinton, that does not bother me. I expect that because I have reached a level where I am a major public figure, one that people so often love and desire to be with. So people are going to say all kinds of things. And I don't get caught up. I refuse to get caught up in what folks say. If that's what they say and they believe that, then let them believe it. But I know the truth. And the truth will set you free. And I'm free. Okay. I'm free indeed.
Dig that. I ain't mad at you, honey. I ain't mad at all. Well, all right. No, like I said, I'm gonna be cute. I'm gonna be cute and good because.
But I have approximately another 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm finna go to end. That's why I'm gonna be cute and good because we're finna go to wrap up now. I'm finna let you go back onto your life because it's raining, and I know you're here with us in Atlanta, so we got this rainstorm coming through, and I want to let you get safe and carry on because I hear you're in transit and carrying on. And are you hands free? Don't make me call Oprah.
Well, I am in process of going to another meeting.
Okay. Get off this phone and you ain't hands-free, child.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, but I wanted to just let you just give everybody a final word of something about the whole essence of you. You know, if you were to sum you up, you know, not the book, it just sum you up, and sum up your journey, how would you describe yourself at this particular stage?
I would describe myself as being a very positive, strong-minded brother. Because everything that I've gone through, every stop sign, every yield sign, every cautious sign, every embracement, every rejection, every lie, every stone thrown at me has brought me to a point where it's made me stronger. It made me a wiser person. And so I would define myself as a strong, much wiser individual, open-minded, very powerful person. And it's not so much because of me as an individual, but because of he that is in me, the greater power.
All right.
Greater is he that is in me. Because of he that is in me, I am able to overcome every obstacle, to move past every insult, to overlook every rejection, and to obtain victory and look back and come to understand that I live the true meaning when the scriptures say that this race is not given to the swift.
Not given to the swift, honey, okay.
But they that endure unto the end.
Okay.
And endurance, you're going to have to go through some things. You're going to have to endure some rejections, some battles, and you're going to have to shed some tears. And I want y'all to know I've shed some tears before.
Oh, yeah, you said that in the book.
I've been rejected.
You just wailed.
But through it all, it has made me the person that I am today.
Okay. All right. Now, if folks want to get a copy of the book, My Life in Porn, the Bobby Blake Story, tell everybody where they can find that.
You can go to any major bookstore. Barnes & Nobles have My Life in Porn, the Bobby Blake Story. You can also go online and order the book. It's a very powerful book. It is a journey of my life from day one. I'm working on a second book entitled And He Heard My Cries. And hopefully the book will be out next year.
Okay. All right.
But most major bookstores have the book. And you know what's so amazing? When people ask me that, I say, Barnes & Nobles have it. They have that book. It's a porn book. I said, no, it's a very enlightening, educational book. You know, it's funny sometimes the mindset of some people.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You know, exactly. This here is a fabulous read, honey. It's a fabulous read. As I'm going through it, and, you know, some of the ups, some of the downs, you know, there's stuff in here, some of the things that I found to be very interesting. Oh, you know what? Let me say this. Breeze wanted me to ask this question, and I got to ask this before you go. Are you still in contact with some of the former co-stars, the J.C. Carters, Ricky Parkers, and if so, you know, what is your relationship now?
I do talk with J.C. Me and J.C. were the very best of friends. We had a very good relationship, and we maintain a good relationship. At one point, I thought he was going to be my mate.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But we have a strong bond. And, you know, J.C. had gone to school, got his degree. Jay worked in law enforcement, my understanding, and been in a relationship. Him and his partners got married just recently.
Oh, okay.
And he's a very beautiful, intelligent brother. Very beautiful, intelligent, educated brother. You know, a lot of those other, you know, brothers like, you know, Bam and Kevin Kemp, a lot of them gone off to jail, served time in prison. One of them, Buckhorse, got involved in some drugs and somebody blew his brain out. Some of those people are dead. They got caught up in the drugs, you know, drug arena, partying. So, you know, again, some made it and some didn't. It all depended upon their approach that they took while in the business. So, yeah, I do talk with JC.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, darling, let me get you out this rain. You get prepared, your mental set prepared for this next meeting that you're about to attend. I've got to sit down here and get some things done. I'm still working on my particular production and carry it on. If you're coming to Detroit next month,
you know what? I might come out there and try. I might come out there and try out and play.
You know what? We'll talk off. We'll talk off the record. Let me get off this because all this is about to be recorded. I will hold you to it. I will fucking hold you to it. Now, okay, okay.
Call me.
I will call you. I will call you.
All right,
take
care.
Okay.
God bless
you. Go ahead.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, baby. I appreciate you so much. Okay.
Oh, you too.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen of Blog Talk Radio Network, honey, that there is the Elder Edgar Gaines, honey, formerly known as Bobby Blake. This has been very, very, very enlightening, honey. You know, as you can see, his spiritual convictions, honey, is the root of who he is. And, you know, when we met the first time, like I said, that was back, oh my! Let's see. I've been here in Atlanta for 7 years, so that had to have been about 93, 94 maybe. But yeah, because it was Yeah, somewhere up in there, because I think it was before I moved to New York, and somewhere between, I would say between 94 and 98, up in that particular bracket when we first met. And, you know, so when, and all that about him being a minister came into my consciousness. And so as you hear, you know, he's always been a spiritually convicted person and has never allowed anything to get in its way, you know, and his connection to his higher power. So let that sustain you in any way that, you know, whatever it is that you believe, honey, if you hold on to that, if you hold on to it, darlings, you know, it will sustain you throughout all the decisions that you make throughout your journey. And never, ever, ever let anybody make you ashamed of your past. Okay? Never let anybody make you ashamed, honey. You have it for a reason. And remember, our lives are not our own. You go through what you go through to be of encouragement to someone else. And that's, you know, just like I said to him, you know, coming through this, darlings, yeah. You know, he's gone through it, and then to have the notoriety that he has, someone who was the major contender in this industry, to have his message to go forth the way he's being led to teach others is very impactful. So that there is that. Again, the book is called My Life in Porn, the Bobby Blake story. You can find it online. It is from Running Press. That's the name of the publisher. You go to runningpress.com to find it. We're going to put that on the website as well, on my website as well, so you can link into it to get a little piece of information from it. Now, what I'm going to do, maybe, do I got a little bit of time here? How much time I got? Come on, a couple seconds. Let me see, because I want to read a little passage from here that I think. No. You know what? No, I'm not, because see, then I'll get into it and carry it on. I want you guys to go and pick this book up, because I thought what was interesting in the book is that, you know, he was saying that J.C. Carter and that was one of his favorite people to work with, because they came to work. They had the same kind of business mind. They came there to work, and when they came to work, it was about work and carrying on. And then as you hear, hell, it was a little bit more than that, and it's in the book as well, you know, to where, hell, he had the possibility of being his partner. So that is a strong bond. So I encourage you to go get the book. For those of you who had questions, comments, or concerns, I hope I got to them. You know, we were trying to be tactful because he wanted to make sure everything was clean. He told me that off the record. You know, before we got started, he wanted to maintain cleanness. So I'm following his lead, because y'all know I got a gutter mouth, baby. I could have took it right there to ask him about this, that, and the other, his dick size and all of that. But I wanted to be respectful. So for those of you who think that I wasn't being myself, no, we just went with the flow, because I wanted to make sure it didn't take him off his square, you know, and that's just, and then, you know, I didn't want to be messy. I told you I'm not windy and all them girls, honey, so we kept it fair. So having said all that, again, let me reiterate this. Tomorrow's Thursday, June 12th, 2014, between the hours of 7 p.m. and 9 p.m., for those of you who are actors, I'm looking for African-American males, African-American trans women, African-American gender illusionists. We have immediate openings for my play, because we have a number of roles that we have to recast due to some constraints. Folks we cast, and then they end up, some dynamics have changed, and we have to go and recast. So we're having immediate openings tomorrow, 7 to 9, in the Detroit area at Affirmations, 9 Mile and Woodward. That's what's there? Is it 290 or 209? West 9 Mile Road, near Woodward Avenue, in Ferndale. That's the LGBT Center, Community Center. Please come there. Bring a bio. We will have. We're going to take digital pictures and videos. So if you don't have a picture, that's okay. But please make sure you're coming in with some kind of acting experience, more than just a church play. I need real actors now. Now come on down and come do your thing, okay? Tomorrow, Thursday, between 7 and 9 at the Affirmations Center in Ferndale, Michigan. The play is opening on July 25th during the Black Gay Pride Hotter Than July celebration. We are an official event there, so your tickets are on sale. Tickets are $20 each, all seats. So please, 248-688-5178 is the number to call. Also go to the website, dishingtea.com, so that you can find out if you want to come on as a sponsor, if you want to get advertised in our playbill or whatever. All of that is there, and you can come on board with us, okay? So please, 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 I'm asking you to go and check that out because I need you to come on out, okay? So having said all that, honey, you may finish. Finish all of your crumpets, my darling, because the tea has been dished, and you've been dishing tea, darlings. With big meats, honey. If you love me, tell a friend. If you hate me, honey, tell an enemy. But do know this, one way, shape, style, form, or fashion, this thing here will move forward. Until we meet again, my darlings, honey, have a wonderful, blessed, and fabulous time in your life as I'm sitting up here doing the same in mine, and whatever ain't fabulous will be. Understand that. So having said that, there is that. So I'll talk with you again soon. Ciao.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's #1, #2 employee. Leave a message at the... Hey, Jamie, it's me, Jamie. This is your daily pep talk. I know it's been rough going ever since people found out about your a cappella group, Mad Harmony, but you will bounce back. I mean, you're the guy always helping people find coverage options with the Name Your Price tool. It should be you giving me the pep talk. Now get out there, hit that high note, and take Mad Harmony all the way to nationals this year! Sorry, it's pitchy.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
At Carrabba's Italian Grill, people always seem to be saying, wow! Especially now, because you can take home our delicious sauté-to-order spaghetti and homemade meatballs made with our family recipe absolutely free.
Homemade spaghetti and meatballs for free? Just wow!
Order one of your Carrabba's favorites, chicken Bryant, chicken Marsala, Polo Rosa Maria, or our chicken trio, and take home made-from-scratch spaghetti and meatballs.
For tomorrow night's dinner, free? Wow!
Hurry into Carrabba's today and get free spaghetti and meatballs for tomorrow. Limited time only, now through May 6th. Carrabba's, Italian worth talking about.